What if I told you that the modern world runs on an Indian invention? Your phone, your bank account, Google Maps, rocket launches, AI, coding, online payments, everything depends on a number system that was developed in ancient India. And no, this is not just about zero. It is about a complete mathematical revolution. But here is the shocking part. For centuries, the world used Roman numerals like this. Now imagine doing multiplication, accounting, engineering, or astronomy with that. Pause and think. Could modern science exist like this? Today we write numbers as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These 10 symbols look so ordinary that we don't even notice them. But they are one of the most powerful technologies ever created by humans. Because the genius was not only the symbols. The real genius was the place value system. Look at this number, 333. The same symbol, 3, appears 3 times, but each 3 means something different. This one means 3 hundreds, this one means 3 tens, and this one means 3 ones. Same symbol, different value, depending on position. This idea seems obvious today, but historically it was revolutionary. And in a few minutes, you'll see how this one idea travelled from India to the Arab world, then to Europe, and eventually became the foundation of computers. Ancient India had a deep mathematical tradition. Mathematics was not just a school subject. It was needed for trade, architecture, astronomy, calendars, rituals, taxation, and navigation. Indian scholars were calculating planetary movements, measuring time, studying geometry, and solving complex problems centuries before modern calculators. Early Indian numerals evolved over time from Brahmi numerals. Slowly, the symbols changed, became simpler, and spread across regions. But the biggest breakthrough was this. Numbers could be written using limited symbols, and their value would depend on their position. This made calculation faster, cleaner, and scalable. Which one is easier to add, multiply, divide, and teach? Exactly. Now let's talk about 0. 0 is not just nothing. That sounds strange, right? But mathematically, 0 is a placeholder, a number, and a concept. Without 0, how do you clearly write the difference between 12, 102, 1002, and 1200? 0 tells us that a place is empty, but still important. That is the magic. In the 7th century, Indian mathematician Brahmagupta gave rules for working with 0 and negative numbers. This was a huge step in the history of mathematics. Think about that line for a second. 0 turned nothing into something that could be calculated. Before this system, many civilizations had number systems. Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, Chinese, Mayans, all had mathematical traditions. But the Indian decimal place value system had a rare combination of 3 things. 1. Only 10 digits. 2. Position decides value. 3. 0 works as a placeholder and number. This made it incredibly efficient. With this system, a child could learn calculations that previously required experts using counting boards or complicated symbols. And this is why it spread, because the best technology is not always the flashiest. Sometimes it is the one that makes difficult things simple. Now here comes the global journey. Indian mathematics travelled through trade, scholarship, astronomy, and translation. The knowledge moved westward to the Islamic world, especially during the Abbasid period, when Baghdad became a major centre of learning. Scholars translated Indian mathematical and astronomical works into Arabic. One major figure was Al-Khwarizmi. His works helped explain Indian numerals and calculation methods to the Arabic-speaking world. And yes, the word algorithm is connected to his name. So every time you hear algorithm in YouTube, Instagram, Google, AI, or computer science, you are hearing an echo of this ancient mathematical journey. But Europe did not immediately accept these numbers. In fact, many people resisted them. In Europe, Roman numerals were deeply established. But Roman numerals are terrible for everyday calculation. Try multiplying 147 by 23. Now try 147 multiplied by 23. Much easier. In the 13th century, Leonardo of Pisa, better known as Fibonacci, helped popularise Hindu-Arabic numerals in Europe through his book Liber Abaci. He showed merchants how these numerals could make trade, accounting, currency exchange, and measurement far more efficient. At first, some people were suspicious. New systems often face resistance. But merchants care about speed and accuracy, and this system was simply better. Once these numerals spread, they transformed everything. Commerce became easier, astronomy became more precise, engineering became more scalable, banking became more organised, science became more mathematical. And then came the printing press. Printed books helped standardise numerals across Europe. Over time, the shapes evolved into the digits we recognise today. So when we call them Arabic numerals in many parts of the world, that name reflects the route through which Europe received them. But the deeper origin is Indian. This is why historians often call them Hindu-Arabic numerals. Now let's jump to today. Computers ultimately operate using binary, 0 and 1. That means the two most important symbols in computing are 0 and 1. And 0, as a formal mathematical idea, became powerful through Indian mathematics. Without positional notation and 0, modern computation would be almost unimaginable. Your bank balance, your UPI transaction, your GPS location, your exam score, your flight ticket, your YouTube views, your phone storage, your AI model. All of it is numbers, and those numbers depend on a system that became globally dominant because it was elegant, compact, and practical. The most powerful inventions are not always machines. Sometimes they are ideas. A wheel changes movement, a script changes memory, a number system changes thought. The Indian number system changed how humans calculate reality. It made large numbers manageable. It made absence visible through 0. It made mathematics portable, it helped trade grow, it helped science advance, and it eventually helped build the digital world. Quietly, in manuscripts, observatories, classrooms, and trade routes, Indian mathematicians gave the world something even more lasting. A way to count, a way to calculate, a way to imagine infinity. So the next time you type a password, check your bank balance, write a date, solve an equation, or watch your YouTube analytics, remember this: the digits may look ordinary, but behind them is one of India's greatest contributions to human civilization. If you found this story fascinating, share this video with someone who thinks history is boring. Because sometimes the most revolutionary ideas are hiding in plain sight.